John, it's been about 4 weeks now since we went through the NLP phobia procedure with some old Vietnam War experiences that had been bothering you. I'm wondering if, first of all, you'd tell us a little bit about some of the impact that those experiences used to have on your life. I know there were some very unpleasant, to put it mildly, experiences that you had.
To put it mildly.
And that you, like many other Vietnam veterans, had those same experiences bother you in certain ways in your life for the next 13 years.
Well,
is that right?
That's more than right. We get back in 1972.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first couple of years, I didn't bother going to see anybody. As a matter of fact, at that point in time, nobody knew anything was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then, during that period of time, it was pretty rough. It was rough on me, it was rough on my family.
Mm-hmm.
I was still in the military, so I had somewhat of a structured life.
Uh-huh.
And there was no outward signs of it. But in my personal life, it was chaotic because my wife, on several occasions, had to go sleep someplace else.
Uh-huh.
Or get beaten up, one or the other, and I didn't
Uh-huh.
know what was going on.
Okay, and was this because you didn't want to have anybody physically near you or touch you, or how would you
Well,
describe
she
it?
said that I would be screaming and swinging and everything
Uh-huh.
else. That's the external signs that were shown.
Mm-hmm.
Internally, while I was sleeping, I would be right back where I was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at that point in time, everything that happened was coming back. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Including when I got back, when I first got off the airplane, of all places, San Francisco in the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in uniform, and, you know, I was the lowest thing on 2 feet
Mm-hmm.
because I was in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped a lot, right?
Yeah, right.
18 hours before, I was looking out for my life, and here I am in a safe country.
Uh-huh. Looking out for your life again,
Looking
right?
out for my life again.
Yeah.
But anyway, this went on for about 4 years, and finally my wife said, do something or else. And since I didn't like the way she said or else, I went to the base hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
I talked to some of the psychiatric technicians there, and they said, you'll get over it, don't worry.
Uh-huh.
And in '74, I got into a counseling field in the military, drug alcohol counseling in the military. Part of that was to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And in school, about half the time was academic, the other half was the students actually going through psychotherapy. Now, their mainstay there was transactional analysis and Gestalt.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a good part of the work there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, bringing up the past and talking about it and everything else. And this helped for a little while. I think until about 2 weeks after I graduated.
Uh-huh.
And then the dreams, although not as violent, were still there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd get up 10 times as tired in the morning as I did when I went to bed the night before,
Uh-huh.
because I was still reliving what was happening.
And how often would that kind of thing happen?
Well, there's no set time pattern on it, but any time I encountered any relationship to a violent situation
Mm-hmm.
or anything relating to Vietnam,
Mm-hmm. So if you'd
That
seen
would
some
click it,
Vietnamese
yes.
in the crowd or
Yes.
something like that.
yeah. I've got an interesting story about that. One time I was down here in Denver at the Bonanza Flea Market,
Mm-hmm.
and we're walking around the flea market, and we're coming down this one aisle, and all of a sudden I hear voices that sounded very familiar, and I look up, and here comes a group of Vietnamese. It was maybe one family of about 10 people
Mm-hmm.
coming at me. And I clicked right back to the most violent incident that occurred to me in Vietnam at that point in time. And I was right back there. I mean, when I looked around, everybody was Vietnamese. Everybody in the flea market was Vietnamese. And I turned around and started running back the other way. And my wife started chasing me. And finally, when she did catch up to me, it was in a parking lot. And she says, "What's wrong?" Well, I felt rather foolish. I wasn't going to say, "Hey, those people scared the hell out of me."
Yeah.
So I told her, "I think I forgot to close the windows and it looks like rain." But things like that were always happening. I don't care where I was. I was very sensitive to people behind me. People walk up and touch me, or just walk up and say something. I would be very startled, to the point of jumping and turning around, ready to do something. And it wasn't going to be pleasant. Took a lot of self-control on my part, not to hurt somebody.
That must have taken a lot of energy, too.
Energy.
Even tiring,
Yeah. I've gone through several different types of therapy. In '82, I went through some more TA Gestalt. I put the whole Vietnamese country in a chair and I talked to them. Apparently they didn't understand English because they kept coming back.
So you didn't notice an impact from doing that?
Yeah. I went through another school, and there they had two modalities they were teaching, and both of the instructors figured they're going to work on me with both of them. One was reality therapy. And that's great. You know, I am in the here and now until something else clicks. RET, the same thing. You know, there's nothing wrong with my behavior until something clicks.
So that consciously, you could make sense out of not responding in the same way, but that didn't seem to make any difference in terms of your response. Yeah.
I would know what is right and what is wrong. And as a counselor myself, I know I've got to be together before I can help somebody else. I've got to dump my garbage and everything. And I tried. I mean, I would sit and I would tear my guts out telling people about what happened. I mean, standard procedure. Drag up the past, talk about it until it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, it just doesn't go.
Okay, and I think that gives me a more than enough of a clear picture of how things were for you. Would you tell me what kind of difference it made when we went through the NLP phobia procedure? And I want to also add in that's a one-session process that we did. It took maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes at the most, something like that.
It seemed like that to you. It seemed more like 45 days to me.
Yeah, I understand.
But after that procedure, that was on a Sunday. Okay. We had another day of class, and then I went home and I relaxed for a day. The following day, I went up to a seminar in Casper, Wyoming. It was a governor's conference on substance abuse. And people all around, they were coming up to me, putting their arm around my shoulder, bumping me, and, you know, things that I would react to very violently before. I was taking as a matter of course now and not reacting to it the way I used to. And this went on for 2 days, and I didn't think anything of it. Now, I brought my wife to that particular seminar, and she, one night in the hotel room, she come over and she says, "What's wrong with you?" And I says, "Nothing's wrong with me." "Why?" She says, "You're different." I said, "What do you mean I'm different?" She says, "You don't jump when people come up behind you anymore. When people hassle you or push you or jump or knock into you, you don't react to it." I said, "I don't." I says, "No, I don't." And then it hit me. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. And I have begun to enjoy Oriental food again. Matter of fact, night before last, I went into an Oriental restaurant, Japanese to be exact, a Japanese restaurant, and ordered the entire meal in Japanese. It's a language that I had learned long before I went to Vietnam, and since then I haven't even thought of.
Uh-huh. Just
Matter
wanted
of
to
fact,
push it aside.
Yeah, just anything Oriental I would push aside. But I've met two of the most beautiful people in the world, both of them Oriental. And I missed a lot because there are a lot of beautiful people of all races. But these two particular ones, if I was, as I was before the phobia treatment, I don't think I would have ever met them. And that much I want to thank you for. They're two beautiful people.
You're very welcome. Yeah. Are there any other results that you've noticed? Are there nightmares
sleeping
gone?
better.
Okay.
Sleeping better because I wake up in the morning and I don't have all of the covers tied in a knot. I don't remember any of the dreams, and I haven't had any. As a matter of fact, I went to see a rerun of a Vietnam flick, Boys from Company C. And first time I saw that, it was, like hell for about 2 weeks. This time, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was all right.
Great, great. And is there a difference now in thinking about the past things that happened to you in Vietnam that you don't like,
Right now I could think about it. If you remember, I says there's a little bit of emotion left, and I want to keep that. Well, that's all I feel, is that little bit.
So now you can remember it with a little bit as opposed to really being overwhelmed. Okay.
I can talk about what happened to me as well as to other people and not react to it in the way I used to. I mean, I could still empathize because I was there.
Yeah.
But as far as getting deeply emotionally involved in it, I'm no longer there. That's beautiful, and I like it.
Great, great. Oh, there is one more thing I wanted to ask you, John.
Go ahead.
A lot of people, it's going to be difficult for a lot of people to believe that you could change something as strong as you've described in one session.
Okay.
And have the kind of reversal in response that you're describing. I'm curious what your response, what your personal reaction was to find that difference. Or do you have anything else to comment on about that?
The only thing I could say is people have been trying to get me out of this mess since 1972. March 3rd, to be exact. 1972. And it took years, and they still didn't do it. And it wasn't because I was resisting. I was more than willing to get rid of the garbage. My reaction to the session that we had, you and I had, is nothing but peace, contentment, and total gratitude to you, Grinder, Bandler, and anyone else that has anything to do with NLP, because it's beautiful. I think it will change my life. It's only been about 4 weeks now, but it's been a beautiful 4 weeks.
Good. And I know that you doing what you're doing, it will probably change a lot of other people's lives too.
Yeah.
Great. Great.